All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. So excited for today's video. The thrust of today's video is actually not about myself necessarily. It's about a guy I came across yesterday. His name is Garen. And I think that before this, I was the only person, or maybe there was someone else I didn't really come across, that was doing a lot of YouTube videos about Composer software. And I came across this video yesterday where this guy, Garen, he had a very successful finance YouTube channel previously. And it looks like he just stumbled upon Composer and is going to do a whole channel dedicated to it. I think the channel is Algos with Garen. And I want to play some of the video he just uploaded. So not only is he going to do a channel dedicated to it, but basically he did a video that really showcased a phenomenally creative and successful symphony. And the beautiful part about it is he took a template from Composer. It's kind of the buy the dip NASDAQ or NASDAQ mean reversion. And he took that template and ran with it and made changes to it to create something what you might say is superior or has better backtesting results, so on and so forth. And the thing about Composer, what it showcases really is the infinite and endless amount of permutations and changes you can make to pre-built symphonies. So yeah, I want to get into that, and then I'll finish the video with just a quick portfolio update, which is about 905,000 between the accounts. So I have those up here. But let's actually get to the purpose of this video. I want to play about 2 minutes and 30 seconds or so of his video here. And yeah, so let's bring mine down just a little bit. And here we go. Here is Garen.
Let's build a strategy that beats the S&P 500, not only during a bull market, but during a collapse like COVID and a bear market like we're going through right now.
Bear, do you need assistance?
Oh, and this is going to do it all automatically for us too. We don't have to monitor it.
We have technology.
Can you remember any of the rap that you did?
My money don't jiggle jiggle, it folds.
So I want to introduce you to a website and software called Composer.trade, and I have no affiliation with this company. I don't know them. This isn't sponsored or anything. This is just a software that I found about a week or two ago, and it is phenomenal. It is essentially creating your own automatic investing strategies, algorithmic trading, without doing any code. So we're going to go over here once we have our account started, and we're going to go to the Discover page, and I'm going to select one of their pre-built strategies called Buy the Dip NASDAQ 100. And what we're going to do is we're just going to open it up, and we are going to edit and create our own customized version of this. So real quick, we scroll down, you hit the run button, it will generate a back testing report of how this strategy runs. And as you can see, we have the S&P 500, which is the top 500 companies in the stock market.
The interesting thing here is, I'll pull up my Composer account in a few minutes here. This is one of the ones that's doing very, very well in this big sell-off. So you'll see I'm running 76 strategies or so. The buy the dip NASDAQ mean reversion, those are doing very, very well. And so what he's going to do now is he's going to take this template that backtest to be a great strategy and has actually been a great strategy since I started running it live in December or so, and upgrade it.
Compared to this strategy. And as you can see, it's actually doing really well compared to the S&P 500. A $10,000 investment back in 2016 would currently be 34% returns and roughly a 21% annualized return. Now I'm going to run this back a bit farther just so we can get more information and more data, because the farther back you can run a back test, the better information you're going to get. So we can see that this thing is procking quite a few times, but it actually has a few dips down here in the bottom here. So we're actually going to see if we can fix that real quick before we do anything. I'm going to tweak this strategy just a little bit. I'm going to drop these 2 digits down here. I'll explain in a minute what I'm doing, but that looks much better. We are now more bullish, but we're still getting a lot of chop here, which I don't like. So I'm just going to tweak these a little bit more, see if we can get the chop out of here, rerun it. And that looks pretty decent so far. Actually, I think that's less. Okay, yeah, I went ahead and undid that. Currently, we're at $80,000. Now we're going to start modifying this a bit more. So let me explain to you what this is doing real quick. Essentially, what this does is it will default invest in BSV, which is short-term bonds. And if we go over to the charts, if you're not familiar with what bonds are, type in BSV. Bonds are essentially kind of just a good place to put your money where they don't.
So he's going to go on to explain the permutations and changes that he makes. One of the things he goes on to do is he replaces BSV initially for SPY. Because if you're having your holding place as a bond fund versus a holding place as an S&P 500, you're generally, except in market crashes, going to have a higher return if that's your placeholder, so to speak. And then he adds in a cumulative return for DBC or SPY. And then he goes further on to make adjustments. So I'm not going to play the whole 18 minutes here. The one thing he did here, he did mention, and I'm very excited to see, I think it's like around 17, that he's created other strategies as well. So it'll be interesting to see on those strategies if he started those from scratch or if he took a composer template and modified it like this. I think this is where it starts. So let's see.
I actually can tell you that you can make much better strategies than this. They will be riskier, but I can show you a few that I've built. I've got one here that actually does a 468 return with a beta of 0.85 and an alpha of 2.7. I've got another one that does 2.2 million with a very high beta. Unfortunately, I have one that does a 16 million with a beta that's actually lower and an annualized return of 112%. But these strategies are way more advanced than this simple YouTube video. If you like this video, then give it a like and share this video with anybody because it helps grow the channel. If you have any questions, hit me up on Instagram. I answer them.
So there you go. So you can see there he alludes to some other strategies that he's created. And just watching this video, I'm sure that those who founded Composer, Ben, Ronnie, Ananda, and the whole team there is just enthralled with this because this is kind of, I believe, like how and why they created this. That there's, again, I'll use the term infinite and endless. That great minds, great thinkers can come in and say, no, we should put this there, and this is the reason, and let's back test it and see that. And so it also made me think of when I was watching this video. The comments both by Steve Schwartzman at Blackstone and Ray Dalio at Bridgewater. And I've read all the books on Blackstone. I think this came from Steve Schwartzman's autobiography. And Ray Dalio said the same thing essentially in different news articles, interviews, so on and so forth. But both of them have said that when you get a group of smart people in a room, the results are generally a lot better than one single super smart person or highly intelligent person. So when you bring in a bunch of geniuses, there's going to be a multiplicity of genius than just one individual. And so you see, for example, Rentech, that they've done that with bringing in PhDs in different fields, astronomy, and there's software engineers and all kinds of mathematicians, so on and so forth. And so just seeing that someone like Garen, I don't know how he came across Composer. It'd be interesting to see how he did come across. Maybe it's one of my videos, who knows? But just seeing someone like this kind of take this and run with it is fascinating to me. So again, very, very excited to follow. I would follow his channel. It's called Algos with Garen. He has another channel. It's more broad based. I just looked at it very briefly. It has a lot of subscribers and views and stuff. So he's very successful with that. And I think this one is going to be specific to Composer and automated trading strategy. So I will definitely be following along with Garen. And in fact, I just transferred $2,000 from my checking account, and I think I'm going to run $2,000 with this strategy. It reminds me also, Warren Buffett sometimes says, sometimes I'll buy a stock in small amount just to follow it out of curiosity. So it's just fascinating seeing the back testing here. If I put $1,000, $2,000 here and just kind of follow along and see how it does. He does sort of warn towards the end that, this is a strategy that in sort of choppy markets, what you might term volatility on the path to nowhere, that it won't do as well. So we'll see. We'll see if that is the case for the next few years. But yeah, so that's pretty much it with that. And let's just do a quick portfolio update. Let's actually go into Composer here. And so you can see that he took, I have two that are very similar. Buys the dip NASDAQ and buy the dip. I actually have three. I have buys the dip NASDAQ, and then I have buy the dip NASDAQ and NASDAQ mean reversion. This one here hasn't done as well as NASDAQ mean reversion. That's one's 2176. This one's 2170. So these two are probably very similar. And you can see that they're one of the few funds in this big sell-off that has outperformed. It's really the NASDAQ mean reversion, buy the dip NASDAQ, and a lot of the dividend ones here. And the sector ETF too. You got sector ETF has done really well. Dividend, sector ETF, and buy the dip NASDAQ. Here's another one, 2200. Yeah, dividend one right here. So anyways, but the cool thing is you're able now to migrate your account from Alpaca into Composer. So I actually can see this. Before I used to have to log in to Alpaca to see it. And now I'm able to do so in Composer. And you can see the numbers changing by the second. 111,000. We're up almost about 2% today. And so you can see there. Let's go into TD. So you can see we're up today, 519, about 13,000 in TD today. The cool thing is, this one is showing TD, and I talk about this a lot. And this is kind of an expression. Card owners use it sometimes. Other financial types have used it. Kind of a get rich for sure method. And so this makes me very, very happy when the first day of the month, whether the market is up, down, sideways, what have you, dividends coming off. So you can see here, this is Sanofi, big dividend, $35. So again, I'm sleeping, I'm exercising at the gym, I'm in my garden with my Jimmy Nardello peppers, and $35 is coming off and then being reinvested, which is going to accelerate compounding. It's a foreign company, so you can see 25 got reinvested because some of the fees. So we're going to go down. You have Truist, you have Kroger. That's kind of a Warren Buffett-esque stock. Wells Fargo, QYLD, an income covered call ETF that I like. Ford. And then today, after all this yesterday, Enbridge coming off with $9. So again, this should warm your heart as an investor. And it's maybe it comes from the real estate background also. We did my best month, my real estate holdings. I have 24 units of real estate. We grossed about 25,000 in rental income last month. Talk about an inflation hedge. The things you can build in Composer, or you can buy DBC. When you own physical real estate, and rents have doubled in some of my units, basically. So that's a real inflation hedge. Actually owning physical real estate, that especially rental real estate. So that's also great. But let's just go here in the last. Again, I have kind of the big three that I call it, and then I have some smaller ones, but really it's Composer, TD, and Interactive. And you can see Interactive at about 260. So let's just tally it up here. And again, it's not, as of yesterday, it was 905. So just a quick little 864 and 58 cents. Let's go back to TD. here. And let's go back here. So let's go 5, 19, 8, 8, 3, and 53. And let's go back to Composer. Was 1, 11, 1, 6, 9, and 24 cents. So 890, and then there's about 30. So in the smaller accounts, so 920. Obviously, that makes sense because you can see the TD account is up about 13, and we were at 905, so now we're at 920. And this account peaked out at about 1.2 million or so before the big sell-off. So still, hovering around that $1 million or so. So we'll see what the future holds on that. But anyways, guys, that's pretty much it for today. I did a little portfolio update here at the end, but really I wanted this video to not be about me, but to be about this guy. Very excited about Mr. Garen Phillips and what he's going to build in Composer. So I will do updates on him. I mean, I don't know if he sees this, if he wants me to, if he's flattered, or if he doesn't want me to, then I won't. But yeah, very excited to follow this guy. Take care. Ciao.